Snow screamed against Frostvale Penitentiary's walls, a banshee clawing at Elias's, Kane's final night. Shackled wrists ached, but his eyes blue as glacier ice held no surrender. 5 years in a cage and dawn would bring the gallows guard. Daniels loomed his shadow-heavy last words. Elias, he asked, voice rough with pity. Elias leaned forward, breath fogging the frigid air. One wish, bring me Kodiak, my bear. Daniels recoiled. A bear. Not a prayer, not kin, but a wild beast. That's a stretch, he muttered, hesitating. I'll ask. His boots faded, leaving Elias with ghosts. Kodiak's warmth flooded his mind. The cub he'd saved, his only light in a shattered life, one more time. Big guy, he whispered, why a bear? What tethered man to beast across years of pain? The truth would unravel everything, and Tom was bleeding out. Elias Kane's world 10 years ago was a cabin stitched into Alaska's wild heart. Frost Vale lay 30 meters east, a speck of a town dwarfed by pines and peaks. The cabin's logs groaned under snow, its single room lit by a fire that never warmed the ache inside him. At 38, Elias was a husk. Mara, his wife, and Lily, their 6-year-old with her mother's laugh, were gone, stolen by black ice and a drunk's wheel he'd survived. They hadn't. Guilt was his shadow, heavier than the traps he set for furs. He'd come to the wilderness to vanish. Days bled into weeks, then years, each marked by silence and solitude. For Styles, folk called him the hermit, a ghost who traded pelts for flour and left no footprints in their lives. But fate, cruel and kind, had other plans. It was February, the sky bruised purple. When Elias heard a cry, sharp, desperate, he tracked it through snowdrifts, his rifle slung, but unfired. A poacher's trap gleamed, its jaws clamped on a brown bear cub, no bigger than a dog. Blood matted its fur, but its eyes wide alive, locked onto Elias's. He knelt, breath catching. Lily's eyes had shone like that, fearless, even in pain. Hold on, he muttered, prying the trap open. The cub collapsed, shivering. Elias wrapped it in his coat, its weight grounding him back at the cabin. He rigged a bottle from an old canteen, feeding the cub milk warmed by the fire. Its paws swiped weakly, grazing his beard, and Elias laughed, a sound he'd forgotten he could make. You're a fighter, Kodiak, he said, naming it for the island bears, fierce and free. Kodiak healed, and the cabin changed. The cub's clumsy bounds knocked over mugs. His grunts filled the quiet. Elias taught him to nose for berries, to paw streams for salmon. By summer, Kodiak was a yearling, broad and playful, trailing Elias like a shadow. They'd wrestle in meadows, Kodiak's mock roars shaking the air, Elias's shouts echoing back at night. The bear curled by the hearth, one paw draped over Elias's boots. Elias talked to him about Mara's smile, Lily's songs, the accident that broke him. I should have died, not them, he'd confess, voice raw. Kodiak's huff, steady and warm, was absolution. Lily's memory went to their bond. She'd loved bears, begged for stories of them. Elias saw her in Kodiak's curiosity. His stubborn heart, raising him, felt like keeping her alive, a fragile thread to a life he'd lost. But the wilderness wasn't safe. Not even for ghosts. Frost Vale logging ruled the town, its saws chewing sacred land grounds protected by law, but sold by greed. Elias stumbled on their secret one, fall tracking a deer past a hidden camp machines. Roared, trees fell, and men swapped cash under dying light. He snapped photos, recorded voices. Grayson, the company's fixer, bribing a ranger to stay blind. Elias's blood boiled. This was wrong, a betrayal of the land Lily had loved. He planned to expose them, stashing evidence in a tin under his floorboards. But whispers spread. Someone saw his camera, heard his questions one night. Deputies kicked down his door, rifles drawn. Poaching, they spat, waving forged papers. Bear pelts, illegal traps, all pinned on Elias. He saw Grayson's shadow behind them, a smirk in the dark. Kodiak lunged, roaring. But Elias grabbed his scruff. Stay! He shouted, heart-splitting. The bear's bellows shook the cabin as Elias was cuffed, dragged into snow. You're all I've got, he whispered, Kodiak's eyes burning into his. The door slammed, and Elias's world went black in his cell. Now Elias traced those moments, 5 years of letters sent to a vet named Lena Harper, who'd taken Kodiak. He poured his soul into them. Kodiak's quirks, his own innocence. No replies came. But hope lingered if Kodiak was alive. So was his fight Frost. Vale slept under a moonless sky, its streets empty, save for the clinic where Lena Harper worked late. Her desk was a chaos of charts, her eyes heavy from a day of stitching owl wings and dosing elk. At 32, Lena was Frost Vale's heartbeat, mending creatures. Others feared Elias's letters tucked in a drawer weighed on her. His words, Kodiak's love for snow. His innocence felt true, but doubt gnawed. Could a framed man sound so steady? Her phone buzzed, shattering the quiet. Warden Coleman's voice crackled. Kane's got one wish, his bear Kodiak. You've got him? Lena's pulse quickened. She'd built Kodiak's enclosure herself, a fortress, for a bear who'd grown to 800 pounds. He's here. She lied, not checking. I'll make it happen. She grabbed her parka boots, crunching as she reached the enclosure. The gate gaped, its locks shattered. Snow showed tire tracks, deep and fresh, veering into the forest. A leather-strapped Kodiak's collar, torn, lay like a wound. Lena's breath hitched. Someone had taken him now, when Elias needed him most. She called Marcus Reed, a ranger who'd quit after clashing with Frost Vale. Logging Marcus 50 limp from a grisly swipe. His face a map of distrust, he arrived in a Jeep, headlights harsh. This ain't theft for kicks, he said, eyeing the tracks. They're scared of that bear. Lena held up the collar piece, afraid, and heavy. Elias said Kodiak saw the truth. Marcus grunted, memories stirring Grayson's threats when he'd asked too many questions. Let's move. They followed the tracks. The Jeep rattling over ice. Lena's mind replayed Elias's letters. Kodiak was there when they came. He knows what they hit. Her doubt wavered. Maybe Elias was right. The forest thickened, branches clawing the Jeep, subplots unfolded. Lena recalled her brother lost to a logging accident. His death swept under corporate lies. Trusting Elias felt like trusting herself again. Marcus, too, carried scars his daughter arranged after he chose truth over safety. Mirrored Elias's fight, their shared pain forged a quiet bond. The tracks ended at a logging camp abandoned, but alive with menace. Rusted saws jutted like teeth. She'd sagged under snow. Marcus killed the engine, his hand on a pistol. Stay low, he whispered. Lena nodded, clutching the collar piece. A huff. Kodiak's roll from a warehouse, answered by a man's curse. Lena's heart leapt. He was alive but trapped. They crept closer, snow muffling their steps. Voices leaked from the warehouse. Grayson, sharp and cold. Find that Chip or Kane, walks Lena. Froze Chip. Marcus's eyes narrowed. He'd heard rumors of Elias's evidence buried somewhere. No one looked. Kodiak's roar split the air, fierce and close, pulling them forward and into dangerous teeth. The warehouse was a tomb of rust and shadow, its air thick with oil and fear. Kodiak stood chained, his bulk straining steel links, his eyes molten with defiance. Tracked Victor Grayson, who paced with a phone. No Chip, no Kane, he snapped. Burn it, if you have to. A thug rifle slung, prodded Kodiak, earning a snarl that shook dust from beams. Grayson's unease betrayed him. Kodiak wasn't just a bear. He was a key Elias. Days before his arrest had hidden a microchip in Kodiak's collar, etched with proof. Grayson's voice bribing a judge. Photos of felled sacred groves, ledgers of dirty cash. Kodiak had worn it unnoticed, a guardian of truth outside Lena, and Marcus crouched, breath fogging. Lena saw Kodiak's chains, her chest tightening. Marcus spotted the collar's remains tossed in snow. Eolus played them, he whispered. Hit it where no one check a bear's neck. Lena's mind raced. Elias's letters hinted at this. Kodiak carries my fight. She thought it metaphor, but now was real. Grayson's thug grumbled. Why is this bear worth so much? Grayson hissed, because it can ruin us. Lena's doubt dissolved. Elias was innocent, and Kodiak was proof. Their boots scuffed too loud. A thug spawned, shouting, Who's out there? Flashlights stabbed the dark Lena, and Marcus ran, snow slowing them as shots cracked, splintering pines. Kodiak's roar thundered, chains snapping one by one. The noise gave them cover, letting them dive behind. Crate Grayson's voice sliced through, Kill them! Get that ship! Lena clutched the collar piece. Her brother's death flashing, another truth buried by men like Grayson Marcus. Thinking of his daughter gripped his pistol tighter. Kodiak's eyes met Lena's through a window fierce. And knowing he wasn't just fighting for Elias, he was fighting for them all. A subplot deepened. Grayson, alone for a moment, stared at Kodiak, his hands shaking. He joined the company for money, not murder, but lies had trapped him too. His hesitation hinted at cracks. Could he be turned, or was he too far gone? The question hung unanswered as danger closed in. Dawn painted Frostvale's river gold ice glinting like broken glass. Elias stood in a clearing, Cuff's cold guards tense around him. Coleman's call had rushed him. Here, Kodiak was found. Elias's heart pounded, hope wearing with fear. Was this a trick or his last miracle in the forest? Lena and Marcus ran Kodiak free beside them. His paws churning snow. Grayson's men chased snowmobile. Screaming, Lena shouted. Stay left. Steering Kodiak from a ravine, Marcus fired, tires bursting. But more came. Blood seeped from his arm, a stray bullet's bite. Don't stop, he growled, pain sharpening his focus. The clearing broke open. Elias heard Kodiak's roar, a sound that cracked his soul wide. Guards aimed, but Lena's cry stopped them. He's no threat. Kodiak slowed, nuzzling Elias's chest, his warmth real after years of dreams. Elias knelt, tears falling. Voice breaking, you kept your promise. Boy Grayson's SUV skidded in, his pistol. Drawn the chip, now Marcus tossed it to a federal agent, tipped off by his call. You're done, he said. The agent's tablet lit up. Grayson's voice smug. Kane's nothing end him. Images scrolled, ruined forests, bribes, names, Grayson charged. But Kodiak roared, a wall of fury. Guards froze and the agent uploaded the files. Newsrooms lighting up worldwide. Elias faced Grayson, Kodiak at his side. You took my life, he said, steady. Not my heart. Grayson's defiance broke, cuffs snapping as he was dragged away. Lena bandaged Marcus, her hands shaking. But sure, the agent nodded to Elias. You're free. Kodiak had pressing closer. Elias buried his face in fur, whispering, we made it. The clearing glowed, dawn's light, a vow of justice, of home. 10 days later, Elias stood by a new cabin, its porch overlooking a valley. Snow fell soft. Kodiak sprawled beside him, head heavy on his boots. The air tasted clean, freedom's tang, after years of iron. Lena arrived, her truck, rattling, arms full of supplies. Marcus followed, his arms, slung, eyes scanning for threats. A radio hung. Elias can, exonerated Frostvale, logging, gutted by charges, thanks to a bear named Kodiak. Elias stroked Kodiak's fur, voice low. You carry me through, big guy. Kodiak's eyes warm and steady, answered. Lena sat, her smile soft. He's your anchor. Elias nodded, throat tight. You both are. Marcus lit a cigarette, exhaling slow. This ain't over. Men like Grayson, they breed. Elias's jaw set, Lily's laugh echoing in his mind. Then we hunt them. Kodiak rumbled, ready. The valley stretched alive with promise. Elias wasn't just free, he was whole. Kodiak's compass. Their fight just beginning. Kodiak's for caught snow like stars. His breath acquired him. Elias's hand rested on him, unyielding as stone. The world hushed, pines whispering secrets. Only they knew words burned clear. Some bonds break, fates share this story of heart and truth. A voice soft as dawn spoke in the wild. Trust is survival. One bear carried it and rebuilt a man's world. Music swelled, strings threading Kodiak's huff, fading to win.